Deadwater presents Hunted in the Bayou.
Two men set out frog hunting in the Louisiana Bayou late one summer night. The water was still, the air thick with heat and insects, their flashlights cutting narrow beams through the mist that hung low over the cypress roots. They expected frogs, owls, maybe the distant eyes of a gator. What they got instead was silence. A silence so sudden and heavy, it pressed on their chests. The frogs that had been croaking just moments before had gone quiet. Even the insects seemed to vanish into the night. Then came the sound, branches cracking under something heavy. Not a deer, not a gator, but something larger, moving on two legs. Each step echoed unnaturally loud against the stillness. The men exchanged a glance. Every instinct told them to leave. But their lights had already caught movement among the trees.
The beam caught it halfway between the shadows and the fog. A figure, taller than any man, broad-shouldered, its body draped in matted, patchy fur that clung in wet clumps. The ribs beneath stretched against its skin like a starving wolf, but it stood upright, towering among the cypress trunks. One of the men whispered a single word, "Rougarou." The other tried to convince himself it was just a trick of the dark. Then the head lifted, and there was no mistaking it. No fur, no flesh, only a bleached skull where its face should be, hollow sockets glowing faintly with a sickly white light. It was like staring into death itself, as if the bones had been dug up and given life. The men froze, their beams locked on those empty eyes that seemed to pierce through the swamp and into their very lungs. The creature didn't charge, didn't howl, didn't move, except to drag its claws lazily against the bark of a cypress tree beside it. The sound was long, deliberate, a promise carved into wood. The rougarou simply stood there, its chest rising and falling with ragged, wet breaths, never looking away from the two men. Minutes stretched like hours. They knew it was waiting for them to move first. Then, with shaking hands, one of them killed his flashlight. The other followed. Darkness swallowed them whole, and for a long moment, all they could hear was the wet breathing in front of them. And then, silence. When they finally dared to relight their beams, the creature was gone. Only deep claw marks remained carved into the cypress where it had stood. Proof enough that what they saw that night was no legend.